For a long time, I felt like I didn't fit in this world. I didn't want the things I thought I was supposed to want. A certain career, a house in the suburbs, a big salary. I thought I was too sensitive because I needed rest even when everyone else just seemed to keep going, and I felt guilty for it. All I really wanted was silence and a slower life in the countryside. But I didn't think I was allowed to want that kind of life, that it was something unrealistic or impossible. This video is about learning to accept myself as I am, to find my own way, and maybe you can too. Hi, my name is Jaana. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about slow living and my life in the Finnish countryside. For a long time, no matter what I did, it never felt like I was enough. Not making enough money, having the right qualifications, or hanging out with the right people. I was constantly trying to please everyone, even though I didn't even know whose expectations I was chasing. And every time I reached one goal, my mind would just create another. I thought slowing down meant falling behind, simply because I was afraid to fail, afraid to meet my true self. Even if I tried things just for self-care, I couldn't really relax. I was just going through the motions like it was just another thing to tick off my list. For years, I simply sabotaged my own well-being. All this eventually led to health problems and a serious burnout. I couldn't sleep. I was constantly exhausted. I spent several years climbing up from the hole I had dug for myself to be able to function normally again. Losing my life as it was and needing to reinvent myself completely was the most difficult thing I have ever done. And at the same time, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I started to ask myself questions like, who am I really? What kind of a life do I want? What are the things that make me happy and fill me with a sense of meaning and purpose? And finally, I started listening to the answers that I was getting. Most importantly, I wasn't willing to sacrifice my physical or mental well-being for the sake of others anymore. I realized that I really was good enough, at least to myself and to my loved ones. And anyone else who might have thought differently simply didn't matter as much to me anymore. I can still remember the exact moment when I realized this. I was in the depths of my burnout. It was a really dark time. And I realized that the people I had been working for wouldn't miss me. I was replaceable. There were so many other people who could do my job. But the people around me at home, my husband, my kids, my parents, my loved ones, they would miss me. To them, I was unique. And that really helped me change my priorities and understand what was valuable. And I realized that I was maybe a bit more sensitive than the average. I had known for years that I was highly sensitive, but I started taking that seriously. And just because everyone else didn't seem to need the amount of self-reflection or rest and gentleness, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with doing that or needing that. Here are some practical observations that might help you too. You're not behind, you're just on a different path. The feelings of inadequacy often start with comparison. I guess it's in our human nature, because we want to be part of our group or tribe. But it can lead to some misguided conceptions about yourself and others and your self-worth. For example, it's easy to compare outcomes without seeing the full picture. People compare timelines, career, money, achievements. But everyone starts from a different place. We all have 24 hours in a day, but some of us have kids or elderly parents to take care of. Or maybe we need a bit more space and time to take care of our health. The thing is, you only see the visible parts of someone's life, not their struggles, doubts, or what they have sacrificed. Comparison often comes from thinking there's only one right way to live. But sometimes the right question to ask would be, do I even want the same thing that the other person has? For example, I recently heard of a fellow writer, a fellow journalist, who had started to do event organizing. And I felt like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe I should try that too. Like, why didn't I come up with that first? But then I heard what was really involved in event organizing. Most of the events that she was doing were small indie events, which meant that she sometimes slept in a tent for the duration of the whole event. She had to be available 24/7. She had to know everything about everything. And it soon became clear to me that that definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do at all. That's just one example of how we might get distracted by things that other people do and think that we want those things as well. We're not built the same, and that's okay. Being sensitive, needing rest, wanting a slower life aren't flaws, just differences. There's no such thing as normal. Society rewards certain traits such as productivity, ambition, extroversion, but that doesn't make them universally right. Life gets a lot calmer when you stop fighting your own true nature and first become aware of what your true nature is. It's okay to dream about things that don't make sense. I had dreamt of writing a book for as long as I can remember. I just didn't believe in that dream. I thought it was unrealistic, even childish, to dream of something like that. But finally, last summer, I published my first novel, and the second one is coming out next fall. Maybe you dream about a quiet life, a small life, without the pressure of work and accomplishments. We are taught that bigger is always better and that you should always move forward in life. When we grow up, our parents or society don't really encourage us to have dreams like this. Maybe they just want us to be secure, to have stability and a solid income. They mean well. But what about what makes us happy? Maybe you just want to live day by day and focus on the little things. Some desires only make sense to you, and that's enough. I want you to remember this. If you're doubting yourself or feel like you don't quite fit in, you're not alone. And you're not wrong for being who you are. You don't need to change. Maybe you just need to accept yourself. You're allowed to slow down and be exactly who you are. And if it feels difficult to do that just yet, give yourself time. Big realizations and changes are something that we often need to work on for a bit longer before things really start happening. At least that's how things are going for me. Feel free to share your own story in the comments or just let me know if this resonated with you. Thank you for watching. Remember to take care of yourself. See you in the next video. Bye.